Hey everybody, Mike Lawson here with CUBroadcast. Welcome to our show. And on today's program, we have Collins Community Credit Union's very own Stephanie Rupert. Stephanie, how are you doing?
Fantastic. Awesome day.
Fantastic. I love to hear. And you just said it's snowing in Iowa. Oh my gosh. Didn't they get the memo? Spring has sprung?
I know. We've had every season just this week.
Oh, joy. Making it interesting. And we have LenderClose's very own Omar Jordan. Omar, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking, Mike.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Just like 60 days ago, or maybe probably less than that, we were at the GAC, carefree and just shaking hands and hugging, all that type of stuff. And my, how times have changed since then.
Oh, it's been nuts.
Indeed. All right. Hey, got some really great news for not only for you guys, but I think for the rest of the country now that we're really depending on digital services and stuff that this remote online notarization that we've been talking about this, Omar, for what, how long now? At least 6 months to a year, something like that?
Yeah, it's been a work in progress for us for quite some time, and Collins has been really involved with this too. Collins Community Credit Union and Stephanie and the leadership they have over there in terms of pushing this for us in the state of Iowa specifically.
Yeah. Tell me about, I mean, before we dive into, before we get to you, Stephanie, I want to hear about the kind of the government side of it, because Iowa has passed a bill about this remote online notarization, or RON as they're calling it. Can you just fill us in real quick, Omar, on this?
Yeah. Yes, I appreciate that. So in Iowa, the bill was passed. However, it wasn't supposed to go into effect until July 1, 2020. Mm-hmm. But as state of emergency declarations across the country began to unfold, the governor in Iowa suspended the requirement of physical in-person notarization. Mm-hmm. So that basically moved that date of July 1 forward to the date the governor had made that declaration. And our goal was to, as a CUSO, our goal was to demonstrate our commitment to our partners in those states, specifically in Iowa. We are a technology provider, and so we wanted to give credit unions access to that. So that's the legislative side of how that took place. It was easy for us to move from, as a fintech from July 1 to effective immediately.
Yeah.
We're nimble, we're small, we're fast, and as a CUSO, our priority is always our credit union partners. And so, what do they need now? Mm-hmm. We had to get RON, remote online notarization, out swiftly, and so that's been our focus. Where Collins was interesting for this, the Collins Community Credit Union, and with Stephanie's leadership, they're an investor in LenderClose, and so I think this, for me as a CEO of a CUSO, RON, amongst all the additional technology solutions that are being built, that's a success story that our CUSO has in terms of what CUSOs do bring to the entire credit union community, and so that's real. There's a lot of proud moments in there for us, and for me, those are specifically.
And Stephanie, from the credit union perspective, what does this mean? What does this passing of this bill, or expediting it rather than July to now, what does it mean for your credit union and your members?
Oh, it's tremendous. I mean, when she made that announcement of the emergency waiver on March 25th, I mean, we were elated. And as Omar said, I mean, he and his team, as well as ours, were pivoting quickly to get into motion to bring this to the public. And so we have a rich pipeline of real estate loans and home equity loans that require notaries. And as such, with the your distance and sheltering at home, we couldn't afford to bring anybody out. That would just be a disservice. Mm-hmm. So this was a remarkable tool for us to be able to execute on our promises and commitments to members, and at the same time, really make sure we protect against COVID. So it's just been awesome. And like he had said, the nimbleness of his firm and our agility really pulled together and made it happen.
Yeah, it's really a cool story for sure. I mean, the speed in which this has happened, along with a lot of other things that are going on right now. Obviously, the speed is key right now. And so Omar, can you tell me a little bit how you guys made this happen so fast, especially for Collins Community, who's like using it basically right now, and a number of other credit unions as well, right?
Yeah, and so again, as we shifted our mindset or our team's kind of focus into remote online notarization in short run, to this day, our folks at LenderClose, I mean, we've been working 9 days a week just to constantly deliver. And ever since we've made that announcement, we've had several credit unions in Iowa ready to go first. We wanted to make history in the state of Iowa. We've got several credit unions in other states that are also in the process of going first in that state. So really the exciting part is being first and being part of that history making process. Yeah. And Stephanie committed, and she just with the Collins Community Credit Union team, we made sure they are first in Iowa. We made history together amongst a few other credit unions that we put out in the press release. But this was great as far as how we've been able to do that. What I have to say is that this is not just a LenderClose initiative. Really, it took a village to get us where we need to go. Mm-hmm. While we worked hard at LenderClose, but as I mentioned, there was a lot of people behind the scenes helping us get this passed. So it's definitely not a LenderClose logo all over it. It's an entire state of good people that went for this and asked the governor to deliver in. She did for us.
That's awesome. That's awesome news. And Stephanie, being the first, what does it mean for your credit union to be one of the first and to continue using it now? I mean, and this sets you up for a nice future as well as we get on the backside of this whole thing. So how does it feel to be one of the first or the first?
I mean, it's pretty exhilarating, honestly. I like to be first at a lot of things.
There you go.
And I'll cut corners to be first because you have to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes. But really, we want to pave the way for our communities and our community of credit unions, not just in the state, but across the United States and heck, into the world. So it's a big deal, but I humbly say it's really for our membership mm-hmm. and industry survivability. We have to maintain and actually exceed expectations for our members because there's so much competition. That's why I love working with LenderClose because it's in cooperation together for the greater good. And it's just been a really great ride, and I'm thrilled to be a part of it.
Right on. And I see this kind of like as like a remote deposit capture moment because that was such a game-changing technology as well. For not only because it's so convenient, but there's a lot of people out there that just can't get around as easily as other people can. So this type of technology is really such a godsend to these folks, right? And they can just really leverage it. And it sounds like you guys there in Iowa are really setting the template up for the rest of us, right? Omar?
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
So Stephanie, from a member's point of view, can you share a little bit about the experience or process of using this solution and closing a mortgage? What's the process like?
I sure can. So just like we are talking here on Skype and we've got a nice little chat going, we can simultaneously pull up the documents so that we can have a dialogue and make a connection. And so the notary is able to go over the documents and answer any questions. Of course, the process is exactly like it would be in person mm-hmm. in the sense that I'm verifying who you are with all the proper authentication, driver's license, etc. So it's important, right? Security and safety is job number one. Certainly the convenience function is really where it's a game changer, but we're being able to get the work done remotely, at the convenience and timeline of the member. And frankly, if they're in their PJs, that's okay too.
That's okay, especially right now. It's okay, we're in our PJs. Hey, Omar, I'm wondering where and how credit unions can start implementing this type of technology, and how does a credit union put some of these measures in place? How do they get started here?
I've heard a lot of comments last week as we're talking to folks and outside of our network where credit unions aren't sure how to implement RON and what technology solution do I need or what software do I need to install? And the answer is I'd like to take it from what you don't have to do. And what you don't have to do is worry about installing software or make large investments in technology solutions. This is a web browser session that everybody connects into, and it's secure. It's got everything it needs to do. It meets all the Secretary of State and state requirements. It meets all the e-signature requirements. And the reason you don't, what gets me excited about the things that you don't have to do is it allows Ron to be an all credit union solution, no matter what size the credit union is.
Right.
So you don't have to worry about making a $500,000 or $1 million investment. You just select the vendor that you want to be the Ron solution of choice. So choose Ron solution technology provider and do your due diligence on that specific technology provider. And with that, you could start with the Secretary of State, go on their website, which vendors are approved. If you don't see a vendor, we're happy to help and make sure we point you towards the right direction.
Okay.
But it's not that complex of a process. Really, don't overcomplicate it.
Right.
Reach out to somebody, and anybody would be able to help you.
Yeah, and this shouldn't be a complex process because this is something for anybody and everybody to use because it's a necessity, especially in the lending perspective. So, really good stuff. Yeah, because my next question was, Omar's like, okay, where can folks go to find out more? Obviously, LenderClose is a great resource. Where else can we go? Like you said, I guess the Iowa government, Iowa.gov or something like that, or where would they?
I mean, for Iowa would be your Secretary of State. So there's not a lot of details in there. I mean, even if you went online and just Googled remote online notarization, there's enough content out there that would help you. But we're here as a resource, and the expectation is that you don't have to, become a client. And so if as a CUSO, we're happy to actually just educate. We're participating on a lot of webinars where we're actually just coming in as a subject matter expert rather than a vendor or a provider. So we want you to be successful regardless of which technology solution you end up going with. Focus on one thing and one thing only, and that's your member experience. And that's really the big part of this entire process.
Indeed, yeah. And that said, Stephanie, how has the member experience been? Have you had any feedback or anything like that from members who have used it so far?
It's been tremendous, Mike. People are absolutely thrilled with it and do feel that it is very turnkey. It's an expression I use here at the credit union all the time, but I mean, it's legit. It's really easy to use. And I would say just like, any technology, try it once, you're hooked. Don't go back to, we were talking earlier about, will this be a game changer for the world? I say yes. And so, it'll just really free people up from laborious, tedious tasks, and they can do them from the comfort of their home in minutes. Indeed. Great message for sure. All right, guys, I'm going to let you get back to work. Any final words of wisdom here? Any last words here? Any advice for folks out there? Stephanie, any advice for other credit unions out there who might be interested? I would say that I would open my credit union up to testimonials, pick our brains. Yeah. What's going really well? How easy is it? And maybe that'll be in addition to some other research that they do, and then they'll have the comfort level to advance their credit union and do this. And I would echo, you don't have to be a significant size credit union. Anybody can do this and should. Indeed. All right, Omar, anything else?
I'll close with this, and I'll echo part of what Stephanie said in the last statement, which is this the new way of doing business? And I'd like for every credit union to think about what's happening today could be maybe a long-term issue for us as a country. And so let's think about what we can start implementing now, short-term and long-term, in terms of not only RON as remote online notarization, but there's a lot of things that we can do remotely with our members. And again, we're happy to help. We need ideas as a CUSO, and we want to execute those ideas for our credit union partners. Right on. Well said. All right, guys, let you get back to work. Omar, thank you so much. Stephanie, congrats again on blazing a trail for the rest of us. Appreciate it. And maybe we'll check in again in a couple of months to see how things are going. Terrific. All right, guys, thanks.